at today is sort of a bunch of different ways that we can represent relationships. Now, the ones that we're eventually going to focus a lot more on are equations and our graphs. So you'll see sort of as you get further and further along in maths, those are the two that we really put an emphasis on. Tables and flow diagrams, not as much. They're important to build this foundation. But once you get into like grade 9, 10, 11, 12, it's really equations and graphs that we need to be comfortable with. So we're going to have a look at all of these, see how we can get from one to the other. And then eventually, like I've sort of been leading us into, starting to draw graphs, which hopefully we'll get to today, but we'll see how we go. Naledi, are you fine with the Zoom now? Awesome. Okay, so guys, let's go. Our first sort of way to represent relationships is through a table. Now, whilst tables we're not going to use all that often, because hopefully we're going to become more and more comfortable with equations and what they're saying about the type of graph we're looking at. A table is your go-to if you don't know what you're doing, basically. So if you get given an equation or a relationship and you have no idea how to try and represent it, a table is a really good place to start. So if we have a look at our first example, I've just got a basic sort of costs scenario where I've told you that fabric costs 12 Rand 50 per meter. Okay, now we have discussed the fact that there are two important variables that we work with. We work with an input, which we know we can represent with an X, and we work with an output. And basically, the input is the value that you perform some sort of operation to in order to get an answer, in order to get the output. Now, in this case, if we relate it specifically to this example we're working with, our input generally is the independent variable. So our input here would be the number of meters that we buy of material, because that is going to determine what my cost is. And so Y would be the cost of my material in rands. And so as long as I know how many meters I want to buy, I can work out exactly how much it's going to cost me. I can also work out some sort of equation to represent this relationship. So let's have a look and see what our input and output, what happens to our inputs and outputs as we start to decide on meters that we buy. So let's just start nice and easy. We know that it's 12 Rand 50 per meter. So we know that 1 meter is going to cost me 12 Rand 50. Right, you can put it in the chat or you can raise your hands. Who can tell me how much 2 meters is going to cost me? Mohadi, do you want to tell me? Oh.
Ma'am, 2 meters will cost 25 rands.
And how did you get that?
Ma'am, I multiplied it by 2.
Excellent, well done. So guys, we know that if we want 2 meters, we would times the price per 1 meter by the number of meters I want, so by 2, and that gives me 25 Rand. Right, who can tell me how much, I don't want to, yeah, let's do 4 meters. Who can tell me how much 4 meters is going to cost? The lady, tell me. Oh no, the lady ran away.
Ma'am, I think 70.
How did you get that?
Ma'am, I multiplied 12 Rand 50 by 4.
Okay, unless my maths is super bad. Double check 12 Rand 50 times 4 again. Oh, the lady ran away from me. No stress, no lady. Lolita, do you want to tell me?
Ma'am, I got 50 rands.
Good, well done. So 4 times 12 Rand 50 is 50 bucks. Awesome, guys, well done. Title, because I can see your hands up. Do you want to tell me how much 7 meters is going to cost? I'm putting you on the spot, so take your time.
Yes, ma'am. It'll be 87 Rand, 5.
Excellent. So 87 Rand, 50 cents. And I got that because I said 12 Rand
times 7.
Good. Well done. Okay. What if I asked for hands up. What if I ask for the price of 15 meters? So now I want to buy 15 meters of material. How much is that going to cost me? Juanse, do you want to try?
Ma'am, I think it's going to be 187.50 cents.
Good. 187 Rand 50 cents. Excellent. Guys, just while we've gotten some senses here, as like a bit of a side note, money is always going to be 2 decimal places unless you're told otherwise. So unless the question says round off to the nearest rand or whatever, sorry, we always write our answer with 2 decimal places. Okay, so that's why it's 50. Sorry, I need to have some water. I'm choking on something here. Okay, right. So bear it in mind. Let's try a slightly trickier one. Who can tell me how much it's going to cost? I'm just going to put a little scribble here because I'm not going to go in order anymore. How much it's going to cost me for 3.5 meters? So 3.5 meters, how much is that going to cost me? Papedi, do you want to tell me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell me.
I multiplied it as
You multiplied it by? Papedi, can you hear me? Oh no. Okay, I think we might have lost you. Don't stress, we'll try again just now. Tabang, do you want to help me out?
Yes, ma'am. I think the answer will be 43.75.
Excellent, well done. So
Yeah.
40.
50.
Okay, guys, well done. So it's 43 Rand 75. This is because we would take the 12 Rand 50 times the 3.5 meters and we would get our price. Just quickly, unless I ask you to round off to the nearest 10 cents, you will leave it as 75 cents. We won't round it off to 80 cents, nor would we round it off to 44 Rand unless I specifically said round off to the nearest Rand. Right, so just, it's something to bear in mind, and it's such a silly thing, but we don't want to lose marks over silly things. Alrighty, we can do one more, but we really don't have to fill in the last block. I think we all get the idea. So what I'd like to ask is, can someone give me, or can someone like translate this into an equation for me? So looking at this rule that we've got, can someone give me an equation of y equals something happening with x in order to express what's happened in the table here? So what would my equation, what would my rule look like?
You're glitching on my side, but I think it's because of my network. I don't see any learner complaining. So this is my network.
Oh, shame. Okay. Right, so let's see. I know I'm probably going to pronounce your name wrong, so please correct me. Nkolisi? Oh, can't even read today.
Evening, ma'am.
Hi. Can you just say your name for me so that I don't say it wrong again?
Ma'am, it's you can call me Amahle.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Amahle, can you tell me what your rule was?
My rule is y equals x times 12, 5 or 12 Rand 50.
Excellent, well done. So guys, you can write this in a bunch of different ways. Either you can say X times the 12 Rand 50, that's cool. Or you can write it as Y equals 12 Rand 50 X, or you can leave off the 0 completely. As long as you are showing me that you are timesing X by 1250, that's okay. Right, excellent, well done. And this is sort of where we need to be going. Take your screenshot and let's have a look at the next one. Okay, I'm assuming we all got our screenshots. So what we're going to have a look at here is sort of a pictorial pattern. So we've got one circle in image 1, 3 circles in image 2, and 6 circles in image 3. So 1 circle, 3 circles, 6 circles. So my first question is just, can someone describe to me what the pattern is? How am I getting from image 1 to image 2 to image 3 and so on? So take a look, I'll give you a sec. And then hands up, or you can put it in the chat. How do I get from one image to the next? And I want you to bear in mind, you started with 1 circle. So you went from 1 circle to 3 circles, 3 circles to 6 circles. Okay, Lorraine, do you want to tell me?
We can do this, my babes. I see a lot of hands. Good time.
Lorraine? You need to unmute on your side. There should be a little pop-up that comes up for you to unmute yourself. There we go.
Ma'am, I think it's 1 times 3. 8 times 3.
Okay. Okay. Explain to me where you're getting the times 3.
Ma'am, I checked and I saw that the more we keep moving, the more circles are adding.
Okay.
So then I looked at the number 3. I saw there were 6 circles, which means we're multiplying.
Okay. So would you agree that, and I agree with what you're saying, we're adding more in, yes, more and more each time. So if we're adding 1, or rather circles from 1 circle to get to 3, I added 2 circles here. So there are my extra 2 circles that I added. Now to get from 3 circles to 6 circles, I'm adding an extra 3 circles. So there are my extra 3 that I added. And so what we can see is that as I'm going up, I'm adding 1 more each time. So when I now get to the 4th image, I'm going to add 4 circles. And so I'm adding consecutively 1 more every single time to get from one image to the next. Right, so it is a little bit of a trickier pattern because we need to see that it's not the same thing each time, but I'm adding an extra 1 every single time to get my next image. Right, so I can see there's lots of hands. I'm going to ask for a table in a second. So you can lower your hand and then get ready to answer as we go to the next one. Okay, before I do that, Pumuzile, do you have a question?
No, ma'am. I wanted to answer, but I'm fine now.
Okay, do you agree with the consecutive adding of circles?
Yes, ma'am.
Well done. Alrighty, guys. So let us have a look then at filling in a table. So what I'm going to try to do is just make this a tad smaller so that we can still see our circles with the table. All right, there we go. And so again, we have an input and we have an output. I don't like the table here. Sorry, let me just move this, otherwise it's going to upset me. You would think I'd be able to do this, even if it's not perfect, but no. Right, so we've got our input. Oh, it's testing me tonight. Our input is going to be the image number that I'm talking about, because that will determine how many circles I have. So which image it is. So is it the first one, the second one, the third one, etc., etc. And my output, which is my Y value, is going to be the number of circles that I'm working with. Okay, I'm obviously going out, but it doesn't matter. So we can see, obviously, just from taking the pattern exactly as we see it, we can see that image 1 has 1 circle, image 2 has 3 circles, image 3 has 6 circles. So now I want to know from you guys, how many circles is image 4 going to have? And just remember the pattern that we saw happening in terms of what we are adding each time. Mukhari, what do you think?
Ma'am, I think that image 4 is gonna have 10 circles.
Excellent, well done. So how many circles are we adding on there?
4.
Good, well done. So guys, remember the pattern that we saw is that we're adding consecutively 1 more each time. And so if we just go back from image 1 to image 2, we added 2, then we added 3. And so exactly as Mukhadi said, we have to now add 4 circles. Sorry, I clearly have a bit of dust or something in my throat. Right, who wants to tell me how many circles image 5 is going to have? Okay, now again, your username says Samich. You can let me know what your name is, and then you can tell me how many circles image 5 is going to have.
Afternoon, ma'am.
Hi.
Evening, sorry, ma'am. The answer is 15.
Okay, but what is your name? Because I don't think the name that we've got here is your name.
It's Sammy, ma'am.
Oh, okay, never mind. Thank you. Like Sammy. Okay, perfect. Great. You and I, we're special.
Yes, ma'am, very special.
Yeah, the Sams are awesome. Right, guys. So, what English, right? This Sam can't speak today. We know that to get to the next one, we're going to now add 5. So we've got 15 circles. Right, let's try something a little bit trickier. And I want you to think carefully before you just answer. How many circles is image 7 going to have? So not image 6, image 7. Nukulunga, do you want to tell me?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, I think it's gonna have 28.
Excellent. Now, how did you get to 28?
So, ma'am, I first started calculating the one before.
Good.
And then I got the one for 7. So it was 6 plus 21.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So guys, to get image 6, if we sort of take a detour, image 6 would be adding 6, which would take us to 21. So that's the 6th image. But I asked you for the 7th image. So I still needed to add 7 to 21 in order to get my 28 circles in image 7. And so just be careful. The reason I'm sort of skipping one is often they like to do this. Often we'll give you a pattern with, say, the first 3 or 4 terms, and we won't ask you for the very next one. We'll ask you for maybe the second next one or the third next one. And so it's so important that we read our questions carefully when doing these sorts of things. All righty. Woo. Right, guys, let us take a little break before we do flow diagrams, which will go quite quickly. We're going to do it the same as Wednesday, because I thought that was actually quite fun. And I made an oopsie in the last class. I didn't read my own brain break. I now know the proper answer. Brain break for anyone who is new. Basically, what we want to do is we want to get the value of the salad, the waffle, and the bagel in order to get the value of this last expression. So the way we did it on Wednesday is I didn't take any questions, take anything. I want you to try it by yourself. And we're going to wait to see who the first person is to get the right answer on the chat. So keep an eye on the chat so that if you're a bit confused, you guys can help each other out there. but we want to figure out what the salad is worth, what the waffle is worth, and what the bagel is worth to make each of these statements true so that we can find the value of this last expression. So Justin, I saw you say, please explain. I hope that makes a little bit more sense. If not, you're welcome to raise your hand and I'll help you. If it's the joke, how do you teach maths to a chicken? You showed lots of examples, because if we do lots of examples, we're going to get lots of practice. And so a chicken needs lots of examples.
That was funny. Oh. Let's go, my pips. Let's see who's gonna get the first answer right. Let's do this. Pop it in the chat once you get it right. And then if we see that you got it right, we're gonna ask you to raise your hand so that you can explain to us how did you arrive to the answer. Okay, we want the final answer, my pips. We can do this.
What's wrong, guys? Are we all okay? No? Okay, I do see some great answers here. Can we all hear me? Someone put a little yes,
Oh
no.
my word. So Teacher Sam, I was busy talking to myself the whole time I was muted.
Oh.
And I was busy making noise for them, and I was talking to myself. So Linneo has the right answer, was the first winner. Linneo, we can have your hand up so you can explain to us how did you get it. So Linneo and Lorraine, the second one was Lorraine. Linneo, I saw your hand somewhere, but now I can't see it anymore.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay, Linneo, tell us.
Yeah, explain to us. You were the first on the chat to get it right.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so the first sum is salad plus salad plus salad equals 30. So then I said 30 divided by divided by 3, and it gave me 10.
Good, well done.
So then for the second sum, for the second sum, I said 10 times 10 plus 8, which gave me 108.
So the
then
waffle's
for the
8.
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Then for the third sum, I said 8 plus 8 times 9, which gave me 80.
Okay, can I stop you there for 2 seconds? Guys, just remember that multiplication has to happen first. So 8 times 9 gives us 72, and then plus the 8 gives us 80. Whoops, sorry. Okay, Neil, carry on.
And then for the last sum, there's 2 waffles. So then I said 8 plus 8, which gives me 16. So 16 plus 9 times 2 salads, which makes it 20. So which equals 196.
Good. So guys, again, do the multiplication first. 9 times 20 is 180. plus 16 gives me 196. Excellent. Well done.
Yes, ma'am.
I made an oopsie in the last class and didn't see the 2 waffles and the 2 salads. So I was not focused at all. Well done on you seeing it.
We were trapped in the second trap. We were just in there. I saw a lot of people also fell in for the trap because you calculated and you didn't notice that there were 2 salad in there and the pancake also.
Yeah.
And my bibs.
Nice. Well done, guys. Okay, so let us continue on this fun adventure that we're on of representing relationships. So we're going to do sort of flow diagrams quite quickly because, like I say, I don't think it's something that you need to stress about. I know it's not everyone's favorite thing in the world. And it's really just that you can build a foundation of understanding how inputs and outputs work. So we don't necessarily have to do this entire flow diagram. We're going to do a couple, but it's important to understand how they work. So remember, I sort of think of these as like number machines. I'm going to put something in, which is my X value. We're going to do these 2 operations to it, and I'm going to get something out, which is my output value. And so I sort of think of it like a number machine. I'm chucking something in, all of these operations are happening, and then I get something out. So let's have a look at our first one, and let's take an input, say, of 3. So who wants to tell me what the corresponding output would be after we've performed these 2 operations to the input? You can raise your hand. You can put it on the chat. Spiwe, what do you think?
I think that times 2 is equals to 6. And 6 plus 9, 6 plus 3 is equals to 9.
Excellent. Well done. So guys, our output here is 3, and Spiwe has explained all of those operations, so hopefully we're all on the same page. What about if our input is 5? I can still see some hands. Amy, do you want to tell me what my output would be? Amy, you still with us? There you go.
Hi, sorry. So 5 times 2 will give me 10, and then plus 3 will give me 13.
Excellent. Well done. So my output here would be 13. Okay, let's try something a little bit more challenging. What about a -2 as my input? What would my corresponding output be? Ingalihle?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
-2 times 2 will be -1. Huh?
Yeah, so the whole thing exactly would be -1. -2 times 2 gives me -4 plus 3. -1. Excellent. Well done. Right, guys. So that is essentially how a flow diagram works. So what I'm going to sort of ask you now is, again, can someone give me what my rule would be? Y equals what? What would my equation, what would my general rule be for this beautiful flow diagram that we have here? Oh, so many hands. Rory-san, do you want to tell us? Rory-san, you there? Oh, okay. Kanya, do you want to help us out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, I think it's y equals x times 2 plus 3.
Excellent. So guys, remember x times 2 we can write as 2x plus 3. Well done. Awesome. Thank you, Kanya.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Righty, guys. So that would be our relationship, or that would be our equation that gives us this flow diagram. Right. So again, I don't think we need to do this entire thing, but let's do some. So who wants to tell me what the output is in the second flow diagram when I'm using an input of 2? I'm just gonna pick and choose as I go along. Manintle, do you want to tell me?
So hi ma'am.
Hi.
So the answer is 6.
Okay, double check. We're gonna say 2 times 2, which gives us, what's 2 times 2?
4.
4 plus 1 is?
5. It's 10.
Good, well done.
Thank you,
Okay,
ma'am.
so guys, just make sure you're doing the order that they're asking us to do, but exactly as Manintle said, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and then times 2 is 10. Excellent. Right, let's pick another one. Let's do an input of 3. Oh, still so many hands. Let me go down the list here and see who we've got. Palesa Modise, tell me.
Ma'am, 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1, 7 times 2, 14.
Excellent, well done. So our output here is 14. Right, who wants to tell me the output for an input of 5? Khonse, tell me.
Ma'am, it's going to be 5 times 2, which will be 10.
Good.
Plus 1, it's going to be 11.
Good.
11 times 2, that'll be 22, ma'am.
Excellent, well done. Okay, guys, so that is our output. Now, this one's a little tricky, so I need you to just take a second and think carefully about this. What would the equation or the general rule be for this one? Now, the reason I'm saying I want you to think a little bit is because bear in mind what these operations were. Okay, we times by 2, we added 1, and then we took that whole answer and we multiplied it by 2. So give it a try, and then let's see what we get. Don't stress too much if you don't get it. It is a tricky one, okay? Kanya, do you want to ask your question on the chat, or you can raise your hand and I can help you? Kayleigh, very close.
Yeah. Y'all are doing really, really good. Well done, my babes.
Okay, Kanya, I see you. What's your question?
So, ma'am, I wanted to ask, for this diagram, wouldn't we have to do BODMAS first, like multiplication before like adding?
Okay, so this is now where flow diagrams can sometimes throw a spanner in the works. Flow diagrams, we don't have to follow BODMAS. We follow what the order is in the flow diagram. And so this is why I said be careful, because we aren't going to do the multiplication first and then the addition at the end. We do it in the order it's been given to us.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good question. Alrighty. Becky Sitole, do you want to tell me what your rule was?
Yes.
Okay, I'm ready.
I think that it's going to be y equals 2x. It's y bracket 2x plus 1 close bracket times 2.
Yes, well done. And I'm so glad we put those brackets in. Okay, so guys, this is what I was saying, and this is now what Kanya was asking. It's so important that we bear in mind that we first found 2 times x, then we added 1, but then we took that whole thing and we times it by 2. Now you can definitely write this as y is equal to 2 times 2x plus 1, because we know that we can always write the coefficient in front of the bracket, but at the end of the day, it's exactly the same thing. So really, really well done if you, sorry, if you wrote that down as your rule. Excellent. Oh. Okay, right. So that is sort of flow diagrams. Like I say, don't stress yourself too much. What is important is that we're able to perform these operations as we go along. So like I say, the last two sort of, yes, sure, my brain. The last two ways of representing our relationships is really what we're going to focus on as we move up into maths. So we've been doing equations as we've sort of gone along. So when I say equations, just to scroll back up, also in case you didn't take a screenshot, equations are these things. The y equals something. So those are equations that describe relationships to us. And so it's one of the ways we need to be comfortable with dealing with relationships. So I'll leave this up here in case you need to take a screenshot. And the lady, do you have a question before we move on?
Oh, sorry, ma'am, I forgot to lower my hand.
No problem. Right, so let's have a look at some equations. So we need to read these and we need to figure out what equation we could write down. So the equation, remember, it's always going to be y, so our output equals something. So our first one says the output value is the input value plus 4. So just break it down for yourself. I'm saying that the y value or the output is whatever the x is, and I'm adding 4 to it. So, oopsie daisies. Becky, do you want to tell us what the equation would be?
Ma'am, would it be y equals x plus 4?
Excellent, well done. Y is equal to x plus 4. The output value, which is y, is the input value plus 4. Excellent. Right, so we need to, I say we need to. It's not super important that we can translate it. Obviously, we need to know how to, but this isn't really a question that's going to be asked a lot, but it's important to understand how these things relate to each other. Right, so the second one is saying the sum of the input value and 5 is multiplied by 3, and that will give us the output. So again, we want y equals something. Let's just read it again slowly. The sum of the input value and 5 is then multiplied by 3. Mokadi, do you want to give us a go?
Yes, I would like to try, ma'am. I would say that, ma'am, I would like to try. I would say that y is equals to a positive sign 5x multiplied by 3.
Okay, so close. Input value and 5, when we're talking about the sum, do you agree?
Oh, yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, it's 5 plus x multiplied by 3.
And do you agree that the 5 plus x should be in a bracket because it's that whole thing times 3?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent, well done. So guys, what you can do is you can reorder this and say y is equal to 3 times x plus 5. It means exactly the same thing. Right, excellent, Mokadi, well done. That was a tricky one. Right, our third one is saying the input value is multiplied by 3 and then has 2 subtracted, and that's going to give us the output. So let's read it again. The input value is multiplied by 3 and then has 2 subtracted from it. Kanya, do you want to tell us?
I'll try, ma'am.
You've got it.
So it's 3. It's 3 times x.
Yeah.
And that's brackets and then minus 2.
Excellent.
Oh yes, yes, ma'am.
Good. So you can put brackets in, but because there's not like multiple things being multiplied, we can just say 3x minus 2. We don't need to put brackets in, but obviously it's not wrong if you do. That's absolutely fine. All right, guys, take a screenshot. We've got, no, actually, I can just make this a tad smaller and we can do the fourth one. Right, think about it carefully. The output value is the input value squared. So I want my y equals again. The input value squared gives me the output value. Tabi Singh, what do you think it is?
We can do this, my babes. Let's go in some day.
Y is equals to x squared, man.
Excellent, well done. Y is equal to x squared. Fantastic. X the power.
People are nailing
two.
this.
Alrighty, guys. So Tabasing's very proud of himself, as he should be. Right. So what we need to bear in mind is that sometimes exponents come into these things. Sometimes we have powers. Sometimes we have multiplication. Sometimes we can have fractions. Honestly, like the possibility of relationships really is almost endless. And it's then a case of putting these things into graphs. Right, we're going to do one or two just because we're sort of there. And we'll carry on with Wednesday, so don't stress. I just want to give you a bit of a teaser in terms of what we're going to do. So our equation for A, and I'll leave it there in case you want to take a screenshot. Our equation that we got for the relationship I described in A was y is equal to x plus 4. So we're now going to construct a table because, like I said at the beginning, tables are always super useful as a starting point. We're going to construct a table to try and see if we can start to draw some graphs. Right, I'm hoping you've all taken a screenshot. I'm going to scroll down. So here's my table set up. I have just chosen to have this many squares. We'll get to specifics in a second, but let's start here. So y is equal to x plus 4. So we have an input, which is our x, and we have an output. Right. So I'm just going to pick some input values. I can always pick input values because they are the independent variable. It's y that depends on x. So let's go, my brain, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So I'll give you guys like 1 minute to put all of those input values and apply our rule to get an output value. So take your inputs, apply the rule, and get the output value. As you start to get some answers, you're more than welcome to put it in the chat or raise your hand. You can already see some hands up, which is awesome. Tabang, do you want to give us the first one? What is your output when your input is -3?
Ma'am, the answer, ma'am, is 1, ma'am.
Excellent, well done. So -3 plus 4 gives me an output of 1. Well done. Oh. Sammy, tell me the output for 2. -2.
The output for 2, ma'am. The output
-2.
for -2 is 2.
Excellent, well done. Tato, for -1.
Ma'am, the answer is 3.
Excellent, well done. Spiwe, output for 0. Okay, Lolita, do you want to help us out? What's the output for 0?
The output for 0 is 4.
Good, well done. Okay, I can see everyone's starting to see the pattern on the chat, which is awesome. Palesa, tell me the output for 1.
Ma'am, the output for 1 is 5.
Good. Becky, for 6. No, see, I'm just saying things now. For 2.
Ma'am, it's 6, ma'am.
Good, well done. Ingelitle, for 3.
7, ma'am.
Good, well done. Okay, so guys, by applying our rule, we can get an output. Technically, we can also go backwards and get an input if we wanted, but let's start off with this. Right, now what I need you guys to start to notice is that X and Y relate to something else we've actually spoken about already. X and Y relate back to coordinates. Those fun things that we did with transformation geometry, coordinates. And remember, a coordinate is X first and then Y. And so all of these are coordinate pairs. If I list this would be -3, 1 as a coordinate. This would be -2, 2 as a coordinate. And so I can keep writing out a coordinate pair based on my input and my output values. I made a lot of work for myself here. All right. There we go. So we've got inputs and we've got outputs. Now, because we have these beautiful coordinates, what it means is I can translate this onto a Cartesian plane. And I can plot each of these coordinates on my Cartesian plane in order to get some sort of graphical or visual relationship for the situation. Right, so, oops, I kind of would like to have enough space, right? There we go. So what I've got here is a set of axes that we're going to try plot some points. Now, I'm not going to do it perfectly accurately because it is what it is. But let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Okay. I now want to plot my coordinates according to the coordinate pairs I have. I'm just drawing some lines that I sort of got what I'm doing here. If I take the first one, we've got -3, 1. So -3 is sitting here, 1 is there, and so I plot my point at -3, 1. Then I plot my next point at -2, 2. So this is now -2, 2. Oh, come on. And so I keep plotting my points. So -1, 3, 0, 4. Now, I can already see some hands up. As I keep plotting, I'm going to ask the question and hopefully someone can talk while I keep going. As I keep plotting these points, Mokadi, what sort of shape am I getting as I start plotting these points?
Ma'am, when you start plotting the points, I think that, ma'am, you're going to get a triangle.
Okay, let's keep going. I'm liking where you're thinking. Oh, golly. So 1, 5, 2, 6, 8, and 3, 7. Okay, so those are all of my points plotted. Do we agree if I just kept going, it's just going to keep going up? So,
Yes, ma'am.
Mokhadi, if I now sort of join those things, what shape or what image am I going to get?
Ma'am, can I please have some time? No, ma'am, it's gonna move within a straight line.
Excellent, excellent, well done. So guys, what actually ends up happening is now if I join these points, and it's not going to be perfect, I actually get a straight line. And so a straight line is actually one of the ways I can get a relationship being represented visually. Now, generally we extend the straight line, but we're going to get to all of the specifics later. But this is now a graph, and this is now where we're heading next week, which is super exciting. Right, so guys, I'm going to stop there because I think I've given you a lot of information, and this is like a cool thought to leave you with before we carry on with graphs on Wednesday. You can see your poll is up. Please do it before you leave us. You guys did really nicely tonight. We are really doing so well with these graphs.
Yeah, I'm also proud of everyone.